Namaste from Kathmandu, Nepal. What do Nepalese people do after a successful business negotiation? Is it offensive to accidentally touch another person's body during a business meeting? Ajay Yadav, a certified soft skill trainer, will tell us about local business etiquette. Thank you a lot for your time, and thank you that you're ready to share with us a little bit more about business etiquette in Nepal. Thank you a lot. And can you tell me, please, when you meet people, how generally you say hello, how you greet people?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And I'm going to give all the responses on the basis of my observation and my own experiences. And with the first question, how do you greet people? It's a very popular, way of greeting. We call it Namaste, and it's a very much common whenever you travel in Nepal, either in a business situation or in a personal situation. We use this term Namaste, and we just join both our hands and just slightly bow our head. Actually, as I said, the essence behind telling Namaste is that we believe that there is an energy inside our body, and the energy which is inside my body respect the energy which is inside your body. So it's more like greeting the highest energy form. This also means that you might be different, you might have a different language, different culture, different religion, but I respect you, and I go beyond all those terms, and I respect your presence. That's what Namaste means. So basically we say Namaste to everyone. Yeah.
And when you make Namaste, you put hands down or touching your something?
Okay. So usually in a business situation, we actually bring it near our heart. Yeah. But when you are trying to do it in, let's say you are going to pray in a temple, usually they try to bring it head. Yeah. But usually the common will be like putting it over here.
Okay. So I know that in business meetings you still shake hands, right?
Yes. Oftentimes we do that. But so I'm currently working on the INGO. It's a global organization. And this is what usually, my international colleague do, that they actually initially say Namaste and then they go and shake their hands. So they try to integrate both the local culture and the international culture side by side. They don't want to skip Namaste. They want to make sure it's integrated.
Okay, both of them.
Yeah.
So if I will meet someone in Nepal, I better make Namaste and then shake the hand.
Yeah. I just remember something actually. Another important thing is that it's quite common in European or American culture that you just say the name. For example, my name is Ajay, you will tell me Ajay. But as a sense of gesture, when, for example, if I want to say Namaste to my friend and his name is Ram, so I'll tell Namaste Ramji. So G is like, you just add G after every name. It's form of our respect, and we don't actually call the first name directly. So whenever you are meeting someone in a business setting or in a formal meetings, it's always good to add G after the name. It's a sign of respect. Okay. So Namaste Erina Ji, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I know that nowadays a lot of people already avoid offices, and a lot of business people decide to meet during lunch or tea time. I heard even during tea time you are meeting here. So what me as a foreigner need to know during tea time and lunch at the business meeting here in Nepal?
Okay. So interestingly, this might sound very common in other part of the world, but especially in our part of the world, in Nepal, we don't prefer eating during our formal meetings actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me tell you a very recent example of mine. I was actually introduced in one of the meetings with the ambassador of US, and we all youth were sitting there together, and then they started serving food for us, and we're like, okay. And then the ambassador starts giving speech, and that was like a little unusual thing for us, because we usually finish our meetings and then eat, or eat and then do the meetings. So we usually in a normal situation we don't try to do it side by side. But right now when you are in cities, they are trying to integrate with the the Western culture. But if you talk about the local culture, it's not the way. We finish the eating first and then do the meeting. It is also advisable that you shouldn't talk when you are eating. That's what we have been advised from a very childhood age. Sure. So that will be my suggestion. Like if you want to make it like, if you want to connect with the your partner in a business or in a meeting, try to make sure that you do the talkings the major talkings before the food, and then now when you think that the major talkings has been done and now it's going more informally, you could bring the lunch or other things side by side. Tea is okay. The drinks, that's fine. You could have it during the meetings and go side by side. But if you are bringing the whole food during the meeting, I think that is not the way the local culture works actually here.
Okay. In some Asian countries like China and Japan, people like to share food when they're eating. What about Nepal? Do you share food or you have only own plate?
Okay. I don't know if there is any English version of this word, but in Nepali we have this term called juto. So that means, for example, here's my plate and I'm eating with my hands, okay? Or let's say I'm using my spoon. But usually Nepalese people, if they're eating with hand, and with the same hand I'm eating, and if I go and touch your food with the same hand, it will be considered juto, and it is not allowed. In a most formal setting, you cannot do that. Even you cannot take the same spoon and take the food out. But if it's like, let's say there is a bowl and there is another spoon, you're not eating, nobody is eating from that spoon, you could share it, you could do that. But not using the same spoon here, there, here, just like make it separate, because usually it's not that common to use the same spoon or use the same hand to mix it up.
So like when there is food on the table and you need to take some food to your plate and you are eating with right hand, so does it mean that you are taking from the common plate with the right hand to your plate or with the left hand? Or like what are you doing then in this situation? Or like you just don't eat anything because there is no spoon?
Okay, so usually, so there are different sorts of food item which you'll be eating. If it's a Nepali food and let's say it's a thakali food, then what happens is that the person you will be initially served with little things and they're in a different pocket, okay? So the ideal way could be like, you don't actually touch every those food items with your hand, just maybe use a spoon or just drop it like this, and if somebody is willing to have it, they could use their spoon and get it. That is the one way. And the other way could be like, as I said, maybe you could ask for an extra spoon for each of the little basket which you have, and if somebody wants, they could use the spoon. No need to touch your food. I mean, like please, like if you touch your spoon and the food, then it will be a juto, and we don't want, we want to avoid juto, okay? So you could just drop it like this. It's about to touch, but it hasn't touched, okay? And just make it like a safe, because we actually considered this, like, touching the food is something a bit, that is not acceptable in a usual normal situation. As I said earlier, things are changing, but still, if you wanna get the real, etiquette, that's how it has been working.
What are the features of mentality of Nepali people? So, and how generally this mentality affects deal making or any negotiation process?
I think you might have noticed this when you were here in Nepal, that we Nepalese people are very much humble, polite, hospitable, and it actually also get associated with the negotiation thing again. So there are many instances, if you make that person feel really good, special, polite, and welcoming, he's very much happy to give you extra deal actually,
Okay.
But if you start making that, reservation, you're being a little bit more formal and not allowing that person to be the way he or she is, chances are higher that that person may not be interested in getting the deal. So always, they're quite emotional people, driven by stories. Okay, so make sure you have that context setting and story, and just make that person feel that they're welcome in this space. That will be a very positive note to start the negotiation. Sometimes it's quite. I mean, you could, especially if you're dealing with the Nepalese people, it's fine to actually tell some stories, make an emotional part attached to it, and make them, feel humble. Because generally we Nepalese people, we actually are very much polite, and we love when someone next to us is polite and humble. And if that is happening smoothly, it's very easier to crack the deal rather than being, okay, 80-20, if not, done. No, that's not the case.
This we are doing in the Western world.
Right. Yeah.
That we are doing all of the time. We don't have time. We don't think about how polite we are. We're just like, or this or that.
Okay.
That's it.
You brought your time. Okay, let me tell you this thing also. We also have this Just to be like, keep in mind, like be mindful that the meeting can go longer. Okay. Because when the emotion part gets attached, you keep on, you actually start sharing, and it keeps on coming. So that's one thing. Also, there is this word called Nepali time. We are not proud of it, but oftentimes it can happen that the meeting can start little bit later. So please, no need to. Just make yourself mentally prepared that chances could be that the meeting might start little later, and be fine with it. These days things are changing, especially with new generations coming up. They are trying their best to be punctual. They are in fact, but still there is a chance that it could start little late and also end little late. Okay, that could be a thing, a local thing actually.
Good to know.
Okay.
And I also know that in Nepal, around 80% of people are Hindu and 9% are Buddhist, and there are other religions. So me as a foreigner, if I come to this country and I want to make any business connection, then does it affect how I should behave? So should I know something about that, or should I talk to people in different way?
Well, one good thing about Nepal is that we do have this religious tolerance in a very good way. We hardly hear any news that anything happening. Dispute between two religions. Usually the cases are they are quite friendly, staying together, and oftentimes, as I said, that suppose you are meeting with someone and by any chance you do something which is not as part of the culture or not as part of the social values, chances are higher that your counterpart will be actually making a gentle request. Okay, this is not the way. Or chances are high that they will make assumption that it was not intentional, but do not repeat that again and again. So it's always necessary to know that what are different do's and don'ts as per social context. For example, it's quite common, like when you are having, it's not similar to other business etiquette. It could be like not getting involved into the age factor of the people involved, or let's say not emphasizing much into the religion factor associated with it. But if you feel that by any chance you said something that was wrong or that was not the way it should have been spoken, it's always good to just be polite and say that was not intentional. Please let us know if we made you feel uncomfortable. Or otherwise, most of the other situation, chances are, we love talking with people from different cultures, and there is this common understanding that they may not know everything. Instead, something happens and somebody does something, usually Nepalese are polite enough to just give you some more context. Okay, see, this is how it goes and this is how it works, and you could just get those as a tips. So, okay, maybe I should do this way, that way, but not specifically this or that. It is like a common understanding that not touching those sensitive topic as like the politics or the sex or the religion or other things. Other thing, thanks to our polite nature, you'll have a good time with Nepalese people when you are having a business and other things around.
Okay, thank you. Is there something that people who are not from Nepal would find interesting in Nepali etiquette?
Yes, there are a few interesting things. So, for example, we are having a meeting like this, and mistakenly my leg touches your body parts. Okay. Then I'll just do it. I'll just because it's usually it is said that you cannot actually hit female with your leg because we consider them as god or a goddess actually.
So nice, I'm a god.
Yeah. So by mistakenly, if we touch, we'll just immediately you'll see the reaction coming up. It's a reflex action that will come immediately. That is one thing. And other thing is that whenever the deal is closed, you will automatically expect people clapping. Actually, I have actually seen this. So when I was working in my office, and when there is this negotiation happening, and when the sign is, when the two counterparts of the both country or the organization they sign it, you could easily see Nepali, representative started clapping because now it's a happy ending, right?
Just like that.
Yeah. So you could see, you could expect that claps, and maybe you could give a rhythm in that by just joining them. So that's another thing that I think often people might find it interesting, actually.
Okay, so if you'll come back to this sign, why this
it's
sign?
just like I'm sorry. This is more like when you go to the temple and when you just pray. So it could be either this but just as a reflex, this is what I usually do. Just respect sorry, that was not intended.
But is there any meaning why exactly 1, 2, 3?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It could be just even this.
Okay.
You could do, but it's more like it's a way of saying I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Not intentional. I hit. Yeah.
But it's only if you're touching a woman or anyone.
It could be with anyone actually, but you have to be more sensitive when it's with a woman. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Thank you a lot, and thanks again for your time. And it was super interesting, and I hope that you also enjoyed.
Thank you, and looking forward to welcoming you in Nepal soon.
Thank
Namaste. That's what we say.
you. Namaste.
Yeah. Thank you.